Good afternoon, everyone. Today we'll be talking about color, and we'll go through all the things that you need to know about color. So this is Introduction to Color Theory. Learning objectives. Color is one of the strongest design tools. It's one of the things that shape design. With a very good color, a design can go from being good to bad. It affects like attentions, emotions, and actions. And also, color is part of the things that is being used as a brand element. When you see a very good design, part of the things that make it a good design are things like the colors, the typography, the attention to details. And if you see a very poor design, one of the things that would make it poor is because of the color usage there. So understanding how to use color properly would be a whole world of difference as a designer. The science of colors, we have the color wheel where we have like primary, secondary, and tertiary colors. But most especially, we have the color models, which one of it is the RGB called red, green, blue. Mostly these are used for like screens. The CMYK are the colors that are used for prints, for graphic designers or brand identity designers that design things that would be printed as a poster on signboard. The kind of color they use is quite different from the kind of color that we use. As a UI UX designer, we are most concerned about the hex/the HSL, which is a different form of color that allow you to manipulate colors into different forms. The principles of color in design, one is the contrast. If you are so confused about how to use colors, one thing you should try and make sure to understand is contrast, which is you balancing the readability and focus. And most of the times is the difference between the foreground, which is maybe the circle here, and then the background, which is this red. And in this part, the foreground is this, and then the background is this. So you want to be able to understand how to balance this particular element. And sometimes if the foreground is not balanced with the background, or the background is not balanced with the foreground, it always results as poor contrast. And this is why there's something called the contrast checker, which I'm going to show you later on. Another thing is also like hierarchy. You can always use color to kind of create some kind of hierarchy by giving a particular color a deeper color and then giving another color a very lighter color as well. Consistency is a very good thing about colors. You want your brand to look cohesive, where every design is consistent across board. And one of the ways to do that is to stick with a particular set of colors as you start designing without changing them in between. The psychology behind colors are this: every single color is influenced by a specific set of emotion. For example, red. Most people understand that red is a Valentine's color, and if you are celebrating love, you don't want to go and say you want to use green or blue. You would rather want to use red. And for this reason, red is associated with the feeling of passion, love, anger, and then danger at the same time. Anytime you use a red color, these are the kind of emotion that it passes. For example, blue is a very popular color in fintech or social media platforms like initially X, which is formerly Twitter. Their color was blue. Facebook was blue, right? And many other platforms that are blue. They try to pass this level of trust and security. Hence the reason why they are choosing blue as their brand, color. So any color you are choosing as a designer, it has to pass a particular message. So you should not pick colors randomly or blindly henceforth. Another properties of color is the hue. Hue is not normally like the pure color in its default states. Maybe it's green, red, or magenta. That is something that can be attributed to hue. And also it can be like a mixture of two pure colors, maybe like red and yellow. The next is saturation. Saturation is a hue color, but with a certain degree of lightness added to it. So when you look at this, you see this is hue, but when you start adding lights to this hue, it becomes saturation. And sometimes you want to do that because you are trying to get a lighter version of a normal color in your design. And then we have tints, which is you just mixing an original color with some pure white to it. Also, lightness is commonly used for like digital image experts, but it's also similar to what we discussed, which is like saturation as well. In UI design, which is the aspect which we are concerned about, we use color to kind of evoke emotions. For example, if you send money and it is successful, you might want to use a green color to indicate that it is successful. Or if you input your password somewhere and it's wrong, you can use red to indicate that this is a wrong message. So colors can be used to send a message without even seeing anything. Furthermore, in buttons, we have different states, and colors also can be used to pass such message. So you have black, you have red, you have white. And as soon as you see these colors, you can also understand that, oh, this is a primary button, this is a secondary button, just from the color. And when you look at this deep color and you look at this light color, if you are familiar with button states, you know that this is the default color. But when you hover over a button, this is going to be like maybe a hover state of the color. And then when you click on the button, this is going to be a press state, right? And all of these things are communicated through color. Some tools that you can use the contrast checker. You can also use Adobe Color to find more colors, or the colors.co to also check more colors, because when it comes to color, it's a very difficult thing to find a very nice color. So you don't want to be creating it from scratch manually. You should just go to like a website that they have already pre-built colors, and I'll show you how. And then once you get there, you can just check them out. Some common mistakes that you can do that would make you use color wrong is maybe applying too many colors, because the brand color is green. You thought green should be everywhere, but that's not the case, right? Brand color should always be at the most important part of the design, places whereby they call attention to details. And most of the times you want to be using black and gray for your design. And then, for example, in this landing page, in this slide, you would see that the only place that I use red is this X color, right? But mostly everything has been black and black. So colors should be used appropriately, not, blindly. And then we have the poor contrast, which is the most famous and popular rookie mistake a new designer can ever do, not understanding the balance between the background and the foreground, or maybe inconsistent usage of colors. And then also sometimes people can rely too much on color to pass a message, while colors can be used to evoke emotion or to pass a message. Sometimes it's not really safe to just rely 100% on them. A few examples of some popular brands and their color, and what exactly are they trying to drive by using these colors. Spotify used the green and black, and Spotify has a streaming platform. It's trying to evoke the feeling of energy, where if you come to the platform, you can feel energetic, because it's always about music in such a way that it would reignite your soul. Airbnb, on the other hand, uses a warm pink, which also sends a message of hospitality. As Airbnb is a apartment or short stay or short let rather, they want you to feel at home in a no man's land by just coming to the platform and get a place to stay. And Google, which have multiple colors, can also be said that they are trying to show their diversity. As Google is a multi-million-dollar or multi-billion-dollar brand with different products out there, they don't really just do one thing, right? So this color of them having the red, the blue, the green of their identity, which is their diversity. But before then, any question?